that my guest lingering at the bounds of my domain? Don't be shy. You may enter. You are different to what I pictured. I don't mean to insult you. It's just you're a little... Well, when I picture a nation's strongest, my mind quickly goes to strong, battle-scarred warriors with the table manners of a toad, and a glare which could put the weak-hearted into a coma. You're more soft-looking, more approachable. Don't take that the wrong way. You're a much better candidate for having tea with than the boorish type I was expecting. Come, sit. I wasn't sure when you were coming, if at all, so I haven't started the kettle yet. I'll go do that while you get comfortable. Before I do, what type of brew would you like? I've green, herbal, black, gold. Ah, the gold tea. It's a special type, brewed from the shimmering gold roots of a tree with a name even I would have trouble pronouncing. It's not made of literal gold, mind you. Simply, the tea it makes glows with a healthy golden light, which is said to warm whoever drinks it from the inside. I haven't tried it myself. The stuff's rare enough that I've been preserving it for a special occasion. I certainly wouldn't mind brewing some up for a day like today. You'll take some, then? Delightful. This might take me a moment. I must refer to some brewing instructions. You'll come watch? Well, I can't promise it'll be a especially stimulating conversation, as I must focus a great deal, but I cannot stop you. Let's see. Where did I leave that jar? Ah. Could you reach that for me, dear? I would fly, but I don't enjoy showing off while I have company. Thank you. Now, let the kettle boil over a high flame for 2 minutes. That gives us time to chat for a moment. You like my kitchen? Well, thank you. I worked very hard to get all of these implements up the mountain. It's not what you expected, no? Like any other creature, we dragons revel in comfort and fineries. A hollowed-out cave filled with nothing but gold is an appealing idea for someone with the intent of stealing said gold, but it's highly impractical when you set about creating your own lair. Really, I'd live in a regular house if it weren't so flammable. The cave does solve that problem wonderfully, and the height of the mountain makes it an unappealing trek for adventurers. You're surprised it's so small for a dragon? Oh, you may be thinking of regular dragons. Well, technically, I am a half-dragon. We half-dragons are innately humanoid, only able to take on draconic form for brief intervals. Well, regular dragons, they are the opposite. They can take a human form for a short while, though even then they still retain some draconic features. Common folk, they don't much care to learn the difference, so I can understand where the confusion lies. Oh, would you like any milk or sugar in your tea? The instructions say to put it in the cup before the water. No? I wouldn't have guessed so. Something this exotic should be enjoyed in its entirety. Not that I would have judged you otherwise, of course. I can respect that not everyone shares my tastes. The reason I called you here... That part can wait until we have the tea. Speaking of, I believe it to be almost ready. All right. 4 portions of root in the teapot, 1 in each cup. There. While it steeps, I have a question to ask. Have you, human, killed a dragon before? Answer honestly. I am not so much of a hypocrite that I would get angry over this fact. I have killed my fair share of humans, after all. You have. May I know which one? It's a challenge to keep in contact with my kin, and with how frequently dragons are dying lately, I find it difficult to determine who is dead and who is still alive. The thunder and ice dragons of the northern mountains? I'd known about the ice dragon. He'd been a frequent patron of mine. The thunder dragon is quite the surprise, though. I can't help but be marginally impressed. Both were quite formidable last I heard. What do I mean by patron? Well, as a half-dragon, I have a much easier time passing for a human than a regular dragon. Thus, I act as a broker, purchasing human goods and selling them to dragons. Or, most often, dragons. Other magical beings sometimes contract my services. Dragons have plenty of human objects they desire. A dragon cannot raise a town every time they want something. Thus, whenever a dragon hears of a luxury item or rare merchant good, it's my job to track it down and buy it for them. You'd think it pays well, but with how stingy my kind can be, the pay incredibly close to market value. So the profit margin is meager. I'd say the tea is steeped well enough. Let me just pour it and we can sit down. Quite radiant, is it not? Certainly a worthwhile tea for this occasion. Now, to discuss. I specifically called for a strong human to talk with me today, which is why you're here. You see, dragons are a dying race. On average, they produce offspring once every 100 years, yet one is slain every year, sometimes 2. My kind, the half-dragons, we cannot even reproduce. And the rate at which dragons and humans bond close enough to create one is shrinking. Currently, I'm only aware of 4 other half-dragons to be alive. Many humans think they would be better off without dragons, and maybe they would be. But I'm not just doing this out of my wish for my draconic heritage to survive. Dragons are becoming restless. Any day, they could decide to lash out, wipe out as many humans nearby as possible to attempt to secure a safe living situation for themselves. If enough dragons decide to do this at once, thousands of humans could die, dozens of dragons too. I want to stop this, put an end to the killings of each other's people. And that's where you come in. A human. One who has killed dragons before, negotiating with a half-dragon who regularly deals with full dragons. Even the act alone will put hesitation in the steps my kin might take to secure their land. So, what I ask of you, dear human, is to come live with me. My, you seem confused. Let me explain. To a dragon, the act of letting something into their domain represents a sense of trust, of acceptance. Dragons are fiercely protective of anything that they willingly bring into that domain. So, for a dragon and a human, especially one who has slain some of our kind, to live with one another would be setting a new precedent. It would be the first sign of trust between our species. Of course, this would only be step 1. Communication would be established, deals would be contracted, but for the first act, this symbol must be made. Of course, this would all be with your consent. Were you to decline, I would not force you. You're free to make your own decisions, and I know this is a difficult one to make. Dragons have long memories, so this would have to be a lifelong commitment for someone with your lifespan. Uh, no, I'm sorry. I didn't expect you to agree so quickly. Are you sure? You haven't taken much time to consider this. I hope the tea doesn't have any suggestion properties I don't know about. You're really completely sure? I suppose I can't argue with you, especially since this is the desired outcome. I'll see to carving out a few rooms for you then. Why don't you start getting your belongings up the mountain? You've made excellent company so far, so I'm looking forward to us moving in together. And human, thank you. Hello there, my darling listener. If you'd love to hear more of me, then please consider subscribing and checking out my socials in the description below. I upload every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday just for you. Or join my Discord to talk with me and other fellow members of our wonderful community. And please check out my Patreon as well to find the more spicier ASMRs and exclusive takes. Thank you for listening. Goodbye, my lovelies.